Welcome to another episode of Down the Barrel Podcast with Jimmy and Dino.
And sometimes Jared.
Down the Barrel Podcast is brought to you by the Minnesota Deer Hunters Association and Wolf.Report.
All right, tonight we're here with Mr. Chance Adams, the board chair of the Minnesota chapter of the Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. Thanks for joining us, Chance.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Mm-hmm. All the way from Bemidji? Are you in Blacktick tonight?
Nope. I'm in Bemidji right now, so we can say that.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Great.
Yeah, we're making it a habit to interview folks from Bemidji here.
Yeah, there must be a lot of interesting folks over there.
Well, that's
good
to
area,
say the least.
Mm-hmm. I did go to college there, so go Beavers.
I used to work
I'm an alum too, so yeah.
I worked out of Bemidji for a couple of years.
Oh, yeah?
It's a good spot.
Yeah, I had fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great town. I mean, if you guys haven't been here since the storm, I mean, it got ravaged. Looks totally different. So many places, just the amount of trees that we lost in that June storm is absolutely unbelievable. You know, I think they said 9 million trees in Beltran.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How did the waterfront fare?
They lost. I mean, it depends on what side of the lake you're on. The side with Paul and Babe lost quite a few trees, and then the other side got hit even worse. Really?
Over by the state park, or?
Yep. Yeah.
Wow. Yep. That's too bad.
Yeah. So it's a little looking a little different.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, I know. But we heard from some of our members over there, and I mean, they were talking 90+% of the trees on their property were just wiped out. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
It happened here about 10, 12 years ago. And then Hill City area.
And then Hill City was
just a few years ago.
Yeah, 5-6 years, something like that.
Yeah, wild stuff.
Yeah.
So you're saying you got lots of firewood.
Yeah. And you know, it's interesting because the county missed out on receiving federal aid and state aid by about, I think it was like $250,000.
Really?
You know, the damage.
Wow.
And then the federal government would have came in and been like, all right, yep, we're going to help you guys. But right now the county's been trying to convince people to plant more trees and like, all right, we lost 9 million trees. We're going to try and plant some more. So that's always exciting.
Yeah. Wow. That's too bad. So I want to know, Chance, how did a guy from Bemidji get involved with Backcountry Hunters and Anglers?
Yeah, you guys too, right? In Grand Rapids, we're right on the edge of all these national forests. Right. You know, the Chippewa, the Superior. And in Minnesota, we have I think it's around 30% of land in Minnesota is public, open to state or federal land. And most of it's in our neck of the woods. And so I got involved in it back in, probably became a member in 2016 or 2017 based on this idea that I was just really concerned with the boundary waters,
right?
Specifically, that they were, potential mines were being offered and giving away public land for those mines. I mean, it wasn't even like they were buying it; they were giving them like an indefinite lease, and that kind of worried me. And so I got involved just joining BHA and paying attention to the issues, and then CWD started popping up. And that was another thing that kind of drove me to be like, all right, I'm getting more concerned. I deer hunt a lot. I grouse hunt a lot. And so I started thinking of these issues. And then one day I was like, there's nothing that BHA has been doing in northern Minnesota. We haven't had any events up here. And so I kind of reached out to the board actually in 2020, right before COVID. And I wasn't a member of the board. I was just a member up in northern Minnesota. And I said, hey, I'd love to do an event up here. I think we could get a good crowd. And they were like, we can't, none of our board members can make it. And I said, well, what if I drive and meet you halfway? Can you give me the stuff to set it up? And so I kind of did like a guerrilla pint night up here in Bemidji. And after that, they were kind of like, wow, that was great. You signed up more members. You did all this stuff. If we have a board opening, would you be interested in joining? And I said, sure, yeah, I'd be interested in being more active. I'm a school board member also, so I'm already active in a lot of different things. And that just kind of opened the door, and next thing you know, I was helping set up more events, and then I became a board member around 2021, and have been on the board ever since.
Nice.
Yeah, I think I joined around 2017 too, for almost the same reason. I mean, I had been going to the Boundary Waters. I'm a big Boundary Waters guy. I've been going since 1990. I'm old. And I mean, I can't say mine was probably as well intentioned as yours. I just thought it was a cool thing to do for us Boundary Waters guys, you know, because I went up there fishing every year and hunting grouse, and so yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and I think
and then, you know, not too long after I became a board member, the CWD case in north of Bemidji occurred.
Oh yeah.
Where a deer farmer, dumped, carcasses on public land.
Yep.
And actually that he's within 2.5 miles of my property.
Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah. So everybody knew him up here. It was a really interesting thing, but that also like drove me to be like, wow, I have never talked to anybody that thought a deer farm was a great idea in this area. And so it was so interesting to, that people knew about it. And that drove me to also get more, involved at the time in researching CWD and figuring out, oh my gosh, now that what I thought was only in southeastern Minnesota and maybe the driftless area was now in my backyard, literally.
Right. And so that probably led to the CWD
Pint Nights.
Pint Nights, right?
More up here. Yeah.
Because I know BHA does Pint Nights across the country, right?
Yeah.
But that's not all CWD Pint Nights, obviously.
No. And that did well. And we, it was right around that time that BHA took a stance of, we wanted to try and prevent the spread of CWD in Minnesota. And we didn't feel, we wrote a letter, and we didn't feel like the DNR was doing enough. And at the time, I had even called the guy that was supposed to be checking these deer farms, and it was like one person around that did it for the entire state.
Mm-hmm.
And the DNR didn't have control over it. That was, I think, the Department of Agriculture.
Right.
And Board of Animal Health.
Board of Animal Health, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it was only one guy. He's like, I don't have the resources. And we kind of thought the DNR wasn't doing enough. And we wrote an op-ed piece, and the DNR read that piece, and when they were like, hey, we want to do more. We want to figure out a way that we can, what are some suggestions you guys have? And it led to us being like, well, you got to educate people. And, some of your open houses in my neck of the woods after the CWD exposure, they were really good. And the DNR did these really great presentations. And we kind of looked into like, why don't we just bring those to our Pint Nights and have the DNR come talk about CWD in a more personalized way rather than, let's say, an hour-long PowerPoint.
Right.
And more importantly, let's get more testing out there and convince people it's not too hard to test your deer, especially now in like 684. It's a required opening weekend. And I think it's in your neck of the woods also.
Same here. Yeah. Same here. Yeah. 679. Yep.
Yeah. And so, it was just like, all right, let's get more exposure and let's educate people more often. And, when I show people how easy it is to remove a lymph node, they're like, wow, that was way easier than I thought.
Right.
And so that was kind of how those CWD Pint Nights started.
Right.
Well, yeah. And I've been to, I want to say 3 of them now.
Right. I think me too. Yeah.
There's one coming up here soon in about a month. That'll make my 4th one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, October 23rd at Rapids Brewing.
October 23rd.
We can make that,
perfect.
right?
I've got it on my calendar, so I'll be there.
Good.
Yeah, because that's perfect. Actually, that's a week before we go down to Ripley. So yeah,
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I think it's great, having the DNR there, and it is very much hands-on. They actually bring a deer head,
Right.
And they do the sampling right there in front of you.
Mm-hmm. Don't they have like a fake one nowadays?
Yeah,
They do.
They have a fake one.
I
Yeah.
don't know if that's the right word, fake, but
Yeah, we actually last year we applied for a grant with Sitka, and Sitka donated those fake deer heads with the lymph nodes. And I can't remember if the University of Minnesota made them or where. They're actually very expensive. And Sitka, with this grant, purchased one for BHA that we bring to these events, that if the DNR doesn't have theirs, they can show and demonstrate how the lymph, where they are, take them out, So we always joked, like, please don't lose those plastic lymph nodes to replace, but.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, in the beginning, it was real deer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first one I went to. It is. Yeah. Oh, so they have both then.
Yeah. Because there are a couple places that we do these pint nights that have restrictions that are like, hey, we can't have a dead deer in our parking lot.
Right. Yeah. Makes sense.
Then we bring the plastic one in. We haven't had that at Rapids yet. So we're doing one in Rochester, actually tomorrow, on September the 25th. We're doing one in Crosby.
Yeah. I saw that one.
In Minnetonka at Unmapped Brewing. And then the one in Rapids Brewing at the end of the month. And hopefully I can even add one more in Bemidji, we haven't had a Bemidji demonstration yet, so that'd be great.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So, yeah, especially if it's required in your guys' area. So yeah. Educate those hunters.
So are the CWD Pint Nights, is that just Minnesota, or do you guys do them in Wisconsin as well? Or any other states?
Just in Minnesota.
Okay.
We haven't had any of the other state chapters reach out to try and like partner with their, whether it's, Fish and Wildlife or their DNR to set something up like that. But it has been, like I said, our first year, I think we gave out, maybe like 50 lymph node kits. Mm-hmm. And I think last year we gave out over 5,000.
Wow.
Nice.
We gave out just a massive amount of these kits. So that was really great.
Yeah, no doubt.
So legislatively, what has MDHA done for CWD?
BHA.
What did I say?
MDHA.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. You work there.
I do work there. Legislatively, what has BHA done for CWD mitigation? What's on the horizon?
Yeah, great question. Actually, you guys have been a great source for us, because I think we've almost partnered on every, whether we were testifying at the state capitol or whether we were writing letters in support of legislation. You guys were signing on right with us to basically, have that stop the spread by stopping, no longer allowing those deer farms. Let the ones that are here still be, but not allowing them to new deer farms, not allowing them to transfer deer, because that was obviously how the CWD was spread in my neck of the woods, right? They directly traced it from like, oh, this deer farm, he bought 6 deer from this deer farm, infected all of his deer, and because nobody was checking his farm, he was just like, I'm just going to dump them out here in the woods. Yeah. And the only reason it got reported was, local people were like, God, this doesn't seem right. He's driving down the highway with a bucket full of deer.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And that was just one of those things where I think more and more people, as they're exposed to it, are like, this is just a risk we don't want to take.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate everything that you all at BHA have done for CWD, and we look forward to, continuing to work with you on that. I do think, what was it, 2 years ago now, with the legislative change for the enhanced regulation of deer farms and all of that, I think it was a big win for conservation in the state of Minnesota. Very excited that passed, and I guess now we'll see where it goes from there. Apparently there's some Supreme Court case that may or may not be happening, but we'll see.
Yeah. I didn't know we were going to talk about CWD tonight, but
literally the only thing we wrote down was CWD Pint Nights.
I wrote down Pint Nights.
Well, and from our perspective, like up here, that was the really challenging thing was, Beltrami County, they cut off, 15 acres of public land.
Yep.
Right. And the fear is that there would be a loss in deer numbers. And I'm sure as you guys know, it's already there are areas around the state where you're like, gosh, deer numbers are decreasing. You guys, are a member of the same, Deer Advisory Council that BHA is. And sometimes the numbers you're like, okay, that's tough that they're decreasing there and they're increasing in this area or zone. And you just don't want to have another factor get in there and mess with deer numbers that would prevent somebody from recreating on public land and enjoying deer hunting, which brings so much money to the state of Minnesota.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in northern Minnesota. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for, right? Is to protect our wildlife, and doesn't matter what threat is out there. Our job is to mitigate that threat or plan a response to that threat. And it's great to have partners like BHA to fight with,
Right.
Because no one organization could do this on their own.
No.
Yeah. And then, so you guys too, I can't thank you guys enough because, that's the benefit of having, let's say, Minnesota Deer Hunters Association, is that you guys are focused on deer specifically. And that aspect where, BHA, because we're, our fight is public land. Sometimes it's looking at a great example is last legislative session testifying about foraging for mushrooms on public land, right? So it's that range of like foraging rules to, harvesting deer on public land and everything in between. And so we need partners because without it, like you said, it's too big.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it was 2019, or at least I actually just logged into my BHA portal yesterday because I was like, gosh, am I still a member? But it's been on auto renew for quite a while now. But yeah, I think it showed 19, although I thought it was right around that 2016 range when you signed up too. But and I had joined because of the public land issue. Where I grew up, it was on private land, and moving up here, I didn't have any land, so public land is what I have to recreate on fish and everything. So that's what brought me to BHA, and I applaud you guys for everything and the push towards public lands, and that whole initiative is great. I love to see all that. So
yeah, it's interesting because we'll get that question a lot, and I imagine you guys don't with a name like Deer Hunters Association. People know kind of, all right, you're probably in support of deer hunters or in support of deer. And, backcountry hunters and anglers, we get that question a lot of like, what do you guys do? And what's the purpose of your organization? And, explaining to people that public lands are under attack and that we're here to defend them, to not lose a single acre. And then I have a lot of people say that same thing where they're like, well, I don't even use public lands. And I say, do you ever go fishing? Do you ever go water skiing? They're like, oh yeah, every weekend I go out on the water. And I'm like, in Minnesota, that's all public land.
Right.
Nobody owns the water in Minnesota. And some states, have stream access laws, and they have, all right, if you own both sides of the river, that chunk of the river is private. And Minnesota doesn't have that. And so I think that's a really great way to think about public lands, is even though maybe your recreation looks different, if you're on the water, that's still public lands, and and in Minnesota, you probably used a public access,
right?
And so that's it's a difficult thing to try and explain to people. And then when you go down that rabbit hole, they're like, oh, you're right, I do use public lands a lot, and we should be concerned about some of these, let's say, legislators in other states or at the national level or even at the state level that are trying to, sell public lands or under the guise of like, hey, let's give it back to the states. The states can manage it better, especially with regards to federal lands out west, when in reality it would break a state's budget, trying to fight fires or trying to manage those massive amounts of federal land. Right. And then the states would sell it, and it would obviously go to, these very wealthy, people that can afford it.
Corporations or whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hear that argument quite a bit as well. You know, I only hunt on my private land. You know, I don't. Public lands are public lands, but that's not for me. You know, and it's like that argument just has no merit to it because unless you are a high fence deer farming operation, the deer that you are hunting on your private land, they are wintering, they're feeding, they're bedding on the public lands, and that's what organizations like us are here to preserve. You know, because I don't care if you personally never step foot on public land, you are still benefiting from that public land.
Oh, for sure.
In this state, absolutely, 100%.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, and that's a great point because the animals that we hunt, they are the public domain, right? You know, the grouse, the deer, you know, the ducks, they're managed by the state because they understand it's going across public and private lands.
Right.
You know?
But that brings us public land talk. That brings us to the big one in Minnesota, the boundary waters.
Boundary waters.
Yep. Right. And that's where, I mean, I think you guys have been most vocal in the state, as far as I can tell, is protecting the boundary waters. And I know, Chance, I see some of your pictures online. You recreate in the boundary waters.
Yeah. I love it. It's one of those things that Minnesota is a big state.
Right.
You know, and we've got such amazing things across the state that I didn't go to the boundary waters till I was probably 22 and didn't realize like, wow, this is an amazing place. And I couldn't believe that it existed in Minnesota, you know, 2.5 hours from my home. And it's wilderness, right? I mean, you're out there, there's nothing, and you're canoeing and paddling or even hiking across areas that nothing else can. There's no motorized vehicles,
right?
And that's just a really cool thing to experience. And so this year, with my sons and some friends, I've spent about 17 nights in the boundary waters. I have a trip planned over MEA.
Nice.
To go up there for about 5 days. And when you talk about that issue of mining, I think Minnesota has done a really great job with taconite iron ore mining across the state. It's relatively, they've done a pretty good job of making sure like, all right, hey, we're going to keep mining clean in these areas, how they deal with the tailings, all of these things that hasn't really led to pollution. And it's got a 100-year history in Minnesota of safe mining. And so the mine they're proposing up in the boundary waters, the sulfide copper mine, there's never been one in the world that hasn't had an accident. And it would be at the headwaters of, rivers that would lead into not only the boundary waters, but also would lead into Voyageurs National Park and Capitogama and all these other areas up into Rainy Lake. And so it's just like you look at all of it and you're like, man, that just doesn't seem like a great idea.
Right.
And I'd rather protect that beauty and say, you know what, we'll have to figure somewhere else to get copper out of the earth. Because most copper mines right now are in really dry, arid areas, because once you get water exposed to the tailings, you get sulfuric acid.
Right.
And you bring it to one of the wettest areas in the state. And so that just doesn't make sense. And so we've been pretty vocal about, we need to protect that area. And especially giving up. I think I mentioned earlier, I think they get over 10,000 acres of public land indefinitely, to potentially mine and have their tailings and their buildings and all of that to a foreign company.
Right.
In
They're out of Chile, right?
Yeah. Chile. Yeah. Some company, they can come in and mine and, file bankruptcy and leave. And have no responsibility whatsoever.
Yeah. Not have to clean up their mess. Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Well, because we talked about this topic a bit with Land Tawny when we had him on.
Yeah. Right.
And I thought he phrased it very well, and I will never be able to replicate how well he phrased it, but something along the lines of, like, he's not against mining, but there are certain places on this planet that are special.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And this is one of those places.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Why ever touch it?
Right.
You know, it's
why
too
risk
special.
it?
Right.
Exactly.
Why put it at risk?
Right.
Yep.
Especially when, like Chance just said, there's not a mine, copper sulfide mine in the world that has not had an accident.
Right.
Right. So it's
Not
even,
one.
It's not even chance at that point.
Right.
Right.
It's like, it's
Speaking of
going to
chance.
happen. Right. It's going to happen.
Right. Yeah. It's not a risk, you know, it's a when.
Right. And
So that's the real tough part, is because they try to sell it as like, well, technology's improved. And I'm like, well, until you can show me that technology's improved so much that there's going to be no possibility of an accident, then it just doesn't seem worth it.
right.
Especially, you know, as the economic impact for that area, the boundary waters and the tourism that's brought in there, whether it's through hunting or fishing or paddling, is greater than that mine would be. If they lost that tourism, that mine wouldn't be able to replicate it, you know?
Right.
So you have a sustainable industry. I mean, it makes sense just to keep that in my mind, but
Right. Yeah. I mean, we obviously in this area and east of us, we get a lot of pushback from, you know, basically if we like the boundary waters, we're told we're anti-mining,
Right.
which is just not true. I
Yeah,
mean, we all
exactly.
support taconite mining.
Yeah. I mean, like Chance just said, you know, we've got a rich history in the Iron Range here.
100 years.
Of doing it pretty damn well.
Right. Without any real damage. I mean, and they know how to do it here.
Yeah.
yeah. And that was, last year we, released a statement about this idea of like, no, we're not against mining. We're against this mine in this location.
Yeah.
Right.
Because obviously Minnesotans have proven that we can mine very successfully. And I mean, even you think about when they thought all the iron ore was gone, and then they're like, oh, we can mine taconite now. Right. And they started going through tailings and getting taconite, and they've done a great job at it. But this mine in this location is just, it's a non-starter. And Save the Boundary Waters, another conservation group that, I mean, their sole mission is that they do a great job focusing on that line of like, here's the map, here's where this, mine would be, look how close it is, one accident. And, if you take the number of people that go to Voyagers and the number of people that go to the Boundary Waters, you're talking over 400,000 people that wouldn't be able to recreate in that area every year.
Right. Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah. Not worth it, in my opinion.
No.
I agree, but I'm biased. So, I mean,
Yeah. We all are, right?
bigly.
Bigly.
So Chance, outside of the Boundary Waters and CWD, what do you work on for BHA on a daily basis? What does that look like?
Yeah. So on BHA, we keep our ear to the ground for fear of like great examples of. I had a guy near Park Rapids contact us just to be like, hey, they're trying to sell this 400-acre parcel of tax forfeited land, right, which is public land. And so we look into things like that. Like, okay, wait, are they trying to restrict? Is anybody doing anything that would either, let's say they're passing legislation, trying to sell public land? There was a county commissioner in your neck of the woods that
Absolutely. I contacted you about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And there was one where they were trying to sell some lakeshore.
Okay.
And that was, I had a member contact us from Grand Rapids, and I can't remember the lake. And I thought, wow, that's wild. Like, they're going to try and sell. And it wasn't a lot, like 30 acres, but it would have essentially made this lake that had access and, people used to then be basically allotted to sold off. And then this lake would be full of homes. And we reached out to the DNR because it was, state land. And they were like, there's no way this is going to go anywhere, But so we'll do activities like that. The other thing we do, we have our big Icebreaker event. It's kind of the biggest event for BHA in the Midwest. We do that in the winter, obviously. We're doing it this year at Breezy Point. So it's a great resort. That's January 24th. And that is a day full of, we do a dark house spearing demonstration. We talk ice fishing. We have some guys that set up winter camping, and you can go look at the tents and talk about winter camping. This year, our goal is to have a panel discussion on forward-facing sonar.
Okay.
And the implications that could have for public lands, or in fishing. Because there's a study out of Bemidji State, actually, our alma mater, that is determining how the impact of forward-facing sonar on the muskie population.
Yeah.
Because you used to be able to have to fish for a long time. They used to call it the fish of 10,000 casts or something. And now people can, with forward-facing sonar, be like, oh, there's one, and 10 casts or 20 casts, maybe get it. So they're doing a study on that. And then we have a big dinner, and we have raffles, and it's a good time. It's not necessarily your typical, let's say, banquet dinner. So we do a lot of fun stuff that day. We do our wild game cook-off competition. So people sign up and they cook a wild game dish, and then
now
we
I have to go.
Yeah, I know. I seen you guys grab your phones when you said the date. I know you're looking at your calendar.
Yeah, we're like, I think that'll be like the morning after we get back from Vegas.
Will it?
Yeah. So we're gonna try to do it.
I've been wanting to do it for the last 2 years.
Me too.
We were going to go when it was down in Mille Lacs.
Right.
And I remember we had talked to Aaron, and it's like, yeah, I think we're going to go. And then I don't know what happened.
I don't know.
We're just going to look for direct flights from Vegas to Brainerd.
We fly in a Raider.
Or you just drive on up as soon as you land in the cities.
Right.
Yep, exactly.
No, I'd love to go. I think it'd be a hoot, especially the wild game cook-off. You've been bragging about your duck.
Wow, I wouldn't cook duck.
You wouldn't cook duck? What would you cook?
Man, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, you got to have some good fish there, right?
Yeah, so we've had, because Minnesota won the national competition 2 years in a row. And now I think New Mexico has taken it 2 years in a row. But last year we had some fish, which was really good. And then the guy that won it did basically did like a venison egg roll with it was a blueberry bone marrow dip.
Oh,
that is fancy.
It was phenomenal. It was great. And so he did a great job. We've had some really great dishes. We had beaver sliders one year.
Nice.
They had taken the back straps off of a beaver and pulled them and made them into sliders. That was great.
I hope it wasn't a nuisance beaver.
I didn't ask. And then we had, we've had some really good ones. And actually, the night before, people can come and show up on that Friday the 23rd, and we do the BHA board does a wild game potluck. So we each bring a dish, and you come in and you can sign up or whatever. And last year we had chili, we had all sorts of random things, venison burgers. So we had a really great time last year. It was awesome.
Yeah, that sounds like a hoot.
I thought of what I'm going to make.
What you gonna make?
I'm going to do a venison Wellington. With a balsamic drizzle.
That seems really fancy. Mm-hmm. Don't you remember that thing I sent you the other day, the venison smash taco things or whatever?
It's just a fucking taco.
You don't think? Well, I mean, I'm saying
taco with venison.
Sounds good to me.
Oh, I guarantee you it's great.
But I guess the blueberry marrow
I want to
is
win
winning.
This thing.
Yeah, you better do something fancy.
Yeah. Oh man, this is great. I'm excited because last year, we only had we had 3 people and one didn't show up. So it was against 2. But the year before we had about 6 or 7 people. And what won it that year was basically a take on chicken and waffles, but it was pheasant and waffles. And the waffles had homemade, it was like flour with wild rice in it. Pheasants from Minnesota with maple syrup that was harvested here. So it was all a local flair. Wow. That was a really good one also.
Yeah, that sounds great.
It does. Yeah. I always get excited when we talk food on this podcast.
It always goes to food.
I know. Yeah. And you always say you're going to make something, but you yet to have made anything.
I'm gonna do a bunch of cooking at duck camp. You're
going to do some cooking at Icebreaker now.
That's right. if we make it back in time.
Yeah, we're only a few days away from duck season, so
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Mhm.
Can't wait.
Yeah. I'm going to try it for the first time this year.
You've never had a duck.
I've never went duck hunting. I mean, I'm from far north, man. We hunted deer and bear.
No. All right. You're going to have a duck.
All right. That's what you say.
yeah. What's your favorite duck to eat?
My favorite? Probably wood duck.
Yeah, that's mine.
Yeah.
What makes
so
it the
damn
favorite? What?
good. Was it Neil that we had on?
He was a duck hunter, yeah.
That was talking about how he could serve you duck and you would think it was a steak.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
Neil from
Yep, it was Neil.
Deep Portage.
Yeah. I mean, you could eat a wood duck and think you're eating like a ribeye.
Yeah, that's what he says.
Yeah. It's so good.
Right.
Yeah, that's probably so 2 years ago I got to take my brother who had never been into boundary waters over MEA. I got to take him for 4 or 5 days up to the boundary waters with his dog, and he just really wanted to work his dog, and he hadn't been in a canoe since he was probably 10. So I was a little nervous, but we got out there, and the first day we're sitting there and we hadn't seen a duck. It was real foggy. Finally, I'm like, well, this is all we're doing, so we may as well just sit here and wait for ducks to fly into the little bit of decoys I brought into the boundary waters. And sure enough, we got a couple of wood ducks and a couple mallards, and I was like, this is great. Okay. And that night I cooked, wood duck over the fire in the boundary waters. There's nobody around, just with a little bit of butter and seasoning, and he just adamantly was like, this is the best meal I've ever had.
All food tastes great in the boundary waters.
Yeah.
Everything tastes
There is
amazing.
that. There is that.
I had to tell him, I said, hey, I know you think that, but everything tastes so much better when you're sitting by a fire, looking out over a lake.
It does. Everything I've ever made, no matter what it looks like, is so good in the boundary waters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another duck that I think is a bit of a sleeper, and I think it might just be because of their size, but I love me some teal. I think it's so good.
Yep.
It's another one that's up there.
Definitely the size. They're just so small that you're like, oh, one duck isn't going to do it. I'm going to need a couple.
Right. Luckily, you can get 6.
Yeah. People always give mergansers a bad name too.
Yeah.
But I love making stir fry out of mergansers.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
another good one. So, I mean, you're seasoning a little bit more, but I love that one.
Mm-hmm. They're all good. Let's be real.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. So.
Although I don't really eat a whole lot of diving ducks, but
No.
I don't know many people that do.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Geez. I was going to say, I know a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny. My English teacher from high school, I was talking to him about duck hunting, a few years ago. He's retired now. And I said, I was like, what do you do with a merganser or, even like a ringneck or some of these other divers? Like, what do you do with them? And he's like, if you pluck them and roast them, he's like, everybody thinks they're the same.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I think I would be able to tell the difference, but if he was just like, I just pluck every duck and eat it and just don't tell people what kind of duck it is. I said, okay.
There you go. Yeah, no, I believe it. I mean, it's just where I hunt, it's mallards, it's teal, and it's wood ducks. That's pretty much all you see. A lot of geese.
Yeah.
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 Have you guys ever had a sandhill crane?
I am wanting to get up to the northwest this year to get my first sandhill crane, but I've never had it.
I've never had it either.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's like you said earlier, it's like a ribeye. It looks like a ribeye.
Mm-hmm.
I got
that's
to
what they
take my
call
son's
it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, ribeye of the sky.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to take my sons last year, and we they got a couple, I got a couple, and we went with Aaron from BHA and a couple other BHA board members, and it was amazing seeing some of those size of flocks that around here. I mean, I see a handful of them, 2 or 3 in pairs, but all of a sudden it's 5,000 sandhill cranes.
Oh wow!
Right.
Making that noise, and it was like, this is my son who's grown up around hunting was like, this is the best hunt I've ever done.
Yeah.
He was like, this is all I want to do. I'm like, okay.
Wow. And just what a dinosaur of a bird. You know, like they look so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're huge.
Yeah,
they just
they are.
seem just a big bird, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like a pterodactyl hunt.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always have a couple in the field.
Couple
Every
pterodactyls.
spring. Couple pterodactyls, evidently. I didn't, yeah. I've heard they taste good too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only see them in the spring, though.
So any big hunting plans this fall at all chance?
Just I am going to I want to do I hadn't pheasant hunted in a long time, and I got out pheasant hunting last year and I really enjoyed that. So my plan is to get out pheasant hunting a few more times. But my big fall trip is like I said, I go up to the Boundary Waters. I duck hunt in the morning, grouse hunt in the afternoon. And then I, sit around the fire and eat good food for about 5 days, and it's just a great time. So that's kind of my big, like, all right. In some places you go, you might have cell service, but where I go, there's no cell service, and so it's great just to disconnect for 4 or 5 days. And, enjoy it. So
You bring a fishing rod too, right?
I did last year, but I usually don't. I usually don't do like a surf and turf. I'm just hunting ducks and grouse.
Yeah, it's fun. I've always wanted to go up there. I mean, the place I go to it's mainly river, but well, at least for the last few years, I've always wanted to put somebody in the front of the canoe with the shotgun because we're getting those ducks. They're always coming around those corners.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's a good time. But I always bring the rod because I always rely on the fish.
You kind of have to.
Well, yeah. I always rely. I mean, my wife's always yelling, "You need to bring more food." I'm like, "Oh, if I don't catch fish or something, I got to come out because I don't want to carry all that in there."
Those are my favorite trips.
Mine
where,
too.
Like, you just
it's like survival trip.
Yeah,
right.
You need to be successful.
Right, and that's why I love the Boundary Waters because you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Otherwise,
what about you guys? You guys got any big hunting trips?
I think our biggest that we have planned is Ripley.
Yeah, we're just going down to Ripley for an archery hunt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, otherwise October's busy.
Very busy.
We've got duck camp and then youth camp.
Yeah, MEA, we got the youth deer hunt. We got to take our boys out.
Mm-hmm.
And then shortly after that, then we go to Ripley. And so, it's just, and then rifle season, another week after that, or I guess 2 weeks after that. But
and then we're working on a veterans hunt for that. And,
so it's a busy fall already.
Right.
We do too much facilitating of hunting to hunt ourselves, unfortunately.
Right. Exactly.
We give all these people amazing opportunities to go hunting, and we live vicariously through them.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yep.
We talk to them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We'll film for them even.
Right.
Yeah.
Although Ripley, that's our chance to be selfish and
right. Just
much.
have our own little deer camp kind of thing. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Just a few days anyway.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. Nothing terribly exciting there, but
well, until we come out of there with a monster buck.
That'd be nice. We'll give it a whirl.
I'd like to see it.
New state record.
I'm excited to get a turkey this fall.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we're going to do some turkey hunting too, I guess.
Yeah. During duck camp.
Yes.
During duck camp, we're doing some turkey hunting too.
We'll just call it bird camp.
Bird camp, yeah.
That works.
And that's just in a couple weeks, isn't it?
I think a few weeks. I'm in Colorado in a couple weeks, so
Yeah, we'd still got 3,
Yeah, I don't know.
something like
Oh
that.
yeah.
October's going to be fun.
Shoot.
November is going to be busy.
2 weeks.
Yep.
2 weeks from tomorrow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
So I know we've mentioned it before, or at least when Aaron was here, but Minnesota is it the largest chapter of BHA? Pretty close.
It's the third largest.
Third largest. Okay.
Yeah. So it's Montana, Colorado, and then Minnesota. And that's a really interesting point to mention too about BHA is, there's a lot of members out west in it. And I think some members think like if they support it, they're supporting, Western hunting. And so they kind of like veer away from it. But like I said, in reality, like, Minnesota has the most public land east of the Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
right? So when you go out to, the East Coast, the people out there just don't have the type of public land that we do here in northern Minnesota. And so when you support BHA, even if you're not in Minnesota, or if you're out east, you're supporting a lot more than just let's say the fight in Utah or the fight in, Colorado. And so, yeah, and we're growing. And so that's kind of the goal, is to get more people to understand, like, you use public lands a lot more than I think you realize.
Right.
Yeah. So do you think people in New Jersey, when they're going out west to go hunting, you think they're coming here
to Minnesota? I suppose.
Not to hunt.
I mean, they're definitely coming here to fish, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's probably some hunters.
I don't know if there's ever been a person from New Jersey that's come to Minnesota.
There has to be.
I don't know if New Jersey is
they got great black bear hunting out there in New Jersey, though.
They do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I took some guys from BHA members from Atlanta this year to the Boundary Waters for the first time, and they loved it, obviously. But I think that's, people see that draw of, let's say, the Boundary Waters and fishing is what Minnesota's kind of known for in other places.
Mm-hmm.
And next year, I'm taking a member out from North Carolina and his daughters to the Boundary Waters. And so it's the same thing. Like, they're flying in or they're driving across the country just to come here to fish and check out the Boundary Waters.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've ran into people from out of state up in the Boundary Waters before, people from Georgia, all over the place, and it's always neat to see.
Yeah, I got, friends in Colorado and Washington, and they've all taken 4 or 5 trips to the Boundary Waters, Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool. And it's right in our backyard. That's so cool that people come from all over the country.
Right.
Right.
And some probably from around the world have came to check it out.
Yeah. I've got some coming next summer that are flying into the cities, driving to my house, taking my canoe, and then going to the Boundary Waters. It's like, please take me with you.
Right. Let's go in November or something. I've always wanted to have a November trip.
Yeah.
If the weather ever worked out, I'd love to go up there.
I want to maybe get in touch with Kyle Arola.
Yeah.
And
do a winter trip.
Up there.
That would be fun.
That'd be super fun.
That would be so fun.
I've got the mobile dark house set up now.
Right. Like a survival trip up there in the wintertime. Yeah, that would be a hoot.
Survival with our Mr. Buddy heater.
Well, I don't know if I'm carrying a Mr. Buddy heater, but our titanium wood stove.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I take students every year to the Boundary Waters in the winter in January.
Really?
And we do the same thing. We go winter camping. Most of the time, kids build like quinsies.
Yeah,
they'll pile snow up and then dig it out, and they'll sleep in there. But we bring an ultralight teepee, and we've had a couple years where it was like, it's getting real close to that temperature where maybe we should cancel the winter camping for the few days. And kids have, basically woke up and been like, we were freezing all night. And I'm like, I know it's tough to keep the stove going all night. You're supposed to try and stay warm in your sleeping bag. But
right.
It's a super fun trip to do. And that place in the winter is the same, it's just quiet. It's gorgeous. It's really awesome.
Yeah, that would be so fun. That's something I've never done, but I've wanted to do.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We'll find a time to make it happen.
Right.
Maybe in like 18 years.
Oh, come on. January. Is there a lot going on in January?
Ask my kids.
Right.
So I guess 15 years.
15 years.
Yep. They'll be in college.
You're going to have to carry me in 15 years if I'm still alive.
I'll get one. You can't take it.
I got a deer drag.
Get a wheelchair with tracks on it.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I probably won't even be around in 15 years.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
What would you be, 93 at that point?
Pretty much. I'm not that old. He's older than I am.
Well, yeah, he's obviously 6 feet under at that point.
True.
Right.
Yeah.
Either way. But yeah.
So what else is on BHA's front at this point?
The big one that just ended last week was the comment on the roadless rule.
Right.
That was a big issue, not only in Minnesota here, but across the West. I mean, the potential for, and in Minnesota, it was, I want to say like 60,000 acres that potentially could have been affected. for a variety of different things, but to keep these places that for the last 20 years have been, already open. Sorry, my light went off.
I was like, are they kicking you out of the school?
Right. The security guard just came in. Chance, get out of here.
Light, but it only turns on for a couple of reasons. So the roadless rule has been a big one. And then we're keeping our ear to the ground about, whether every session there's potential for the loss of state lands. The big one 2 years ago was the transfer of Red Lake.
Yeah, right.
And that's another issue we're always kind of, that I don't know if it'll ever go away, but we're always going to be there watching and making sure that every Minnesotan, regardless of who they are or how they're affiliated, has access to public lands.
Right.
I mean, that's a hell of a mission,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very admirable one. So we appreciate you guys doing that. And we're always happy to support wherever we can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
100%.
So I appreciate it. Yeah, you guys have been a great help, and I appreciate all the stuff you guys do, because I think you guys have a really tough job too. There's a lot of different opinions out there, and to really come out and say, hey, we're an organization that wants to see the success of whitetail deer in Minnesota, so everybody has this opportunity. That's a really admirable thing to do, and you're never going to make everybody happy with trying to see that mission succeed.
Yeah.
Right.
We know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about it. If you're truly making everybody happy, you're lying to half the people.
Right.
Right,
exactly.
Like that just makes you a sleazy politician,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
We're gonna do what our members think is best for our deer herd and for your average hunter in the state of Minnesota.
Right. And probably make some people mad along the way.
Guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yes.
Yeah.
You in particular, Jared. Make people mad.
He's good at that.
I do. Yeah. I mean, look at me.
Exactly.
Right?
I've got a punchable face.
You do, especially with those glasses.
I think about it every day.
Oh, well, I don't know. Is there much else? Is there anything else you want to mention about BHA, Chance, before we leave you?
No, just come out to our events. Come out to the Pint Nights if you're in one of those areas, whether you're in Rochester, whether you're in Crosby, Minnetonka at Unmapped Brewing, or Grand Rapids. Come out to those events. Mm-hmm. And if you can't make it to that, try to make it to our Icebreaker event to check out, what BHA is about and have a good time.
Yeah, and see what Jared's cooked up that he keeps saying he's going to cook.
Yeah.
If I can make it there, if I can make it, it'll be a quick turnaround. But if I can make it, I'll try to do something special.
Yeah, I want to see something fancy.
Great.
Yeah, and Chance, are you going to be at all those Pint Nights?
No, I'll be at, depending, my goal is the Crosby and the Rapids Brewing one.
Okay.
Rochester, that's a
haul.
Drive.
Yeah.
So,
well, we'll see you here in town then, and we'll be at the Grand Rapids.
Oh, yeah,
one for sure. For sure. It's already on the calendar. So
we'll be there.
Yeah.
That is, I know I had it on here.
October 23rd.
23rd.
Yes.
Yep.
Perfect.
And then that's what
that is a Thursday.
it's a Thursday night.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Right. It's not a better night to go out to a brewery and cut up a deer.
Yeah. Learn how to test for CWD.
That's right.
Come on out.
Yeah.
October
And what's the best
23rd.
way to find any more information about Minnesota BHA? Facebook, website?
Yeah, we have a Facebook page. You can go to backcountryhunters.org, and that will bring you to the national website, and we have our chapter page there. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram too, the Minnesota chapter specifically, and national. So we're on all of the social medias, and so take a look, figure out like I would say, like, think about how you use public lands and why it's important that we defend them, because once they're sold, we're not going to get them back,
right?
And that's the thing that's you got to keep in mind. So
Yeah, so sign up, support BHA, and help defend public lands.
That's
In
right.
whichever form that may be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then
I
while
know
you're at
we're
it-
all members.
right. We are. And then while you're at it, check out MDHA as
Right.
well.
Why not? If you deer hunt.
That's right.
Yeah.
We do a lot of public land work too.
We do a lot of public land work.
We weren't, quick enough on the draw to come up with the whole public landowner campaign, which I
Right?
still think is just
I just got my new hat and shirt the other day.
I've got to order mine. I don't have mine yet.
You think Chance would sue us if we just stole it?
I don't know if Chance would, but somebody
MDHA
will.
public land.
But yeah, I almost wore it today. I should have threw the hat and the shirt on.
Right.
Well, I felt out of place when we did that cleanup in Rapids. I was like, oh, I don't have a public land shirt. I don't have anything BHA on, but that's all right.
Yeah.
Oh well, we were there doing the cleanup, so
We were
that's all
there
that
supported,
matters.
That's
So,
right.
That's all that matters.
right.
We were doing our duty.
And are you planning any more of those type things? Probably not for this year, but maybe next year.
Yeah, we're trying to work with the DNR to do some trail cleanups, and even that same type of thing. You guys came out and helped clean up that pit by Grand Rapids, where, I don't know if you guys saw, but it was over 1,300 pounds of trash that was taken out of there.
Right.
And so that was huge. And so there's a couple other pits like that now people have reached out like, oh, could we do it at this one?
Right.
Local conservation officer asked that up here to me, was like, hey, this pit nobody takes care of. It would be awesome if you guys went and took care of it, and then we could keep it clean, hopefully.
Right. And keep it accessible for people to use for, shooting or whatnot.
Right.
Right.
Right. And that's kind of why we did it here locally, to keep that accessible for when, the few times we want to go out there.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was awesome.
Yeah. It was fun.
Yeah. I suppose you got to get home. We appreciate your time.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me.
No, thanks for joining us. We
you.
appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you here in a month or so.
Yep.
That's right.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks
Hey,
a lot.
thanks, guys.
good.
We will,
Thanks, Chance.
we'll chat with you later.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
The Minnesota Deer Hunters Association has been building our hunting and conservation legacy over the past 40 plus years through habitat, education, advocacy, and legislation in Minnesota for Minnesota.
The Minnesota Deer Hunters Association and Wolf Dot Report proudly sponsor this podcast. However, please note that the opinions, topics, and guests featured may not necessarily align with the views, beliefs, goals, or mission of our sponsors.
Dead Nuts Outdoors, creators of the most realistic 2D archery targets on the market. Practice how you hunt. Hit it dead nuts. Visit deadnutsoutdoors.com to gear up. Minbow, member-driven, bow hunter focused. Join today at mnbowhunters.com.